Revolutionary new earthquake detection system is in the works. For the first time, the U.S. Geological Survey is teaming up with the private sector to develop a device for your home or business that would alert you to earthquakes in your area, possibly giving you enough time to take cover. Will Card joins us live from Los Angeles. Will, how much warning can people expect to get?
Well, good morning, Leah. It could be minutes, it could only be seconds, but experts say that any amount of time could potentially save thousands of lives when a big earthquake hits this area. Right now, there are hundreds of sensors that run up and down fault lines here on the West Coast. So members of the U.S. Geological Survey have teamed up with private businesses to create a cost-effective alert system that uses those fault line sensors to immediately warn residents across the region. One company, Early Warning Labs, has created an app and a device that would let residents know exactly how long they have until the shaking starts and what they should do in that situation. It's similar to the weather and Amber Alert that you get on your phone.
We can play alerts over the speakers, directions to employees, we can shut down gas lines, we can open garage doors so they don't get stuck shut, so fire trucks can easily get out, ambulances can get out, utilities can get out.
Now, just a couple seconds may not sound a lot, but Leah, it's enough time to stop a train, stop a surgery, or simply get into a safe place when the earthquake hits.
All right, well, this seems great. So why don't they have the technology up and running right now?
Well, the simple answer is money. Mexico and Japan both already have early warning systems that they have up and running, but they've had earthquakes that they consider to be devastating in the past.
It was after the 1985 Mexico City earthquake, killed 10,000 people, that they built a system. And in Japan, it was after the 1995 Kobe earthquake, killed 6,400 people, that they built a system. And the United States is trying to build the system before we have the next big killer earthquake.
An earthquake hit the Napa area earlier this year and caused over $400 million in damage, but that didn't have the deaths on the scale of Mexico or Japan. Some say that's why there's not the urgency right now to get this system up and running immediately. Now, to get it started, experts say they need $38 million up front and then $16 million a year. They say they just got $5 million from Congress. Some members of Congress saying that that is a down payment to more money coming down the line.
Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians got some real hands-on training today with earthquake preparedness.
CBS Local 2's Jeremy Chen joins us in studio with their mock emergency response to a massive quake that seismologists say will eventually happen. Jeremy?
Brooke, Chris, the city of Palm Springs was a mock disaster zone today as city staff and tribal members had to work together to coordinate an emergency response to an ever-changing scenario. A loud rumble fills the Palm Springs Convention Center as people inside duck and cover. It's the start of a massive 8.0 earthquake to strike the city. First responders are working the phones to put together an emergency response. Multiple fires, ridge collapses, and mass casualties, with more incidents happening as time goes by. Fortunately for everyone, this was only a drill. It's good preparation for a city in a seismically active zone.
We're actually surrounded by two fault lines. We have the San Andreas and the San Jacinto fault line. So we have one on the north and one on the south side.
City staff and members of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians coordinate with various agencies such as police and fire, gathering reports and keeping updated on the latest fallout from the quake. City leaders held briefings to finalize important decisions on its response.
Do you have any update on electric service, basically?
You can never be prepared enough for these kinds of situations, so this is going to hone everyone's skills. So if we're called into this kind of situation, everyone knows their role, and we can get as much help to people as quickly as we can.
The city and the tribe also have a number of high-rise projects in the works and say they are confident they can plan a response there.
These newer structures are going to probably withstand earthquake much better than older structures. So we're probably going to end up being focused on some of the older structures in the city, would be my guess.
As they prepare for the big one, city leaders also want to stress to the public that you get prepared as well with at least 3 days worth of water and supplies at home. And city staff is encouraging anyone to become part of a community emergency response team. That way you too can be prepared for an emergency event such as an earthquake.
California's been hurting for rain the last few years, but some scientists say they should get ready for a flood of biblical proportions. SF Gate reports that with the huge amount of rainfall hitting the Golden State recently, a 2011 study that depicts a catastrophic megastorm is getting more attention. The study, by the United States Geological Survey, suggests that California suffers a massive flood every 100 to 200 years. The best known example of this is the Great Flood of 1862. For around a month, the West Coast was pummeled with constant rain. It was so bad, Sacramento was all but submerged. A local paper reported that 1,400 Chinese immigrants and 800,000 cattle died as a result of the flooding. Sacramento was hit by at least 2 more monster floods after the Great Flood. It was bad enough that Congress authorized major flood control projects in 1910. So while this surge of rain is helping with California's drought problem, it makes sense to be careful what you wish for.
Next tonight here, the major concern near America's tallest dam, a giant hole in the spillway, is growing in size tonight. Here's ABC's Neil Karlinski.
Tonight, officials in California have the nation's tallest dam under a microscope, worried about this massive hole that's formed nearby. The Oroville Dam holds water back from Lake Oroville, now at record levels and in danger of spilling over after a series of storms. The 200-foot-long, 30-foot-deep hole is enormous, dwarfing the engineers who climbed in for a look this week. It eroded through the concrete spillway used to release water and keep the lake from topping its banks.
This is a big deal. We're very concerned that we manage this properly to protect the public down below.
Here's the problem. If the spillway can't release enough water now, officials will have to try a never-before-used emergency spillway.
We're monitoring 24/7. If any changes occur that could result in any kind of danger to the public, we will immediately notify the public.
Officials tonight stress that the dam is safe now that conditions are improving. The sky is cleared and the rains have stopped, but they are keeping a close eye on this one, David.
Breaking news in Northern California tonight. Tens of thousands forced to evacuate tonight due to concerns the Oroville Dam's emergency spillway could fail. Good evening, everybody. I'm Elsa Ramon. An emergency in Oroville tonight. Many residents in the city of 15,000 ordered to get to high ground because the Oroville Dam is in danger of unleashing uncontrolled floodwaters. It is the tallest dam in the nation, standing more than 700 feet tall. And for the first time since the Oroville Dam was built nearly 50 years ago, the emergency spillway was activated yesterday morning. And now there are signs that the spillway will soon fail, dumping Lake Oroville into the city of Oroville downstream. Christy Fajardo is live in the newsroom tonight with the latest on a frightening night for thousands of residents who live around the lake. Christy.
Yeah, it certainly is, Elsa. The National Weather Service could not have been more blunt, saying this is not a drill, telling 130,000 people in low-lying areas in multiple cities to get out. This is the concern. Massive amounts of water are pouring over the spillway at Lake Oroville. The water should be channeled through the spillway on the right of your screen. Instead, it's spilling right over the walls. Engineers say a big crater formed on the primary spillway, which is used to ease pressure. It just couldn't take all the wear and tear from the recent rains. That forced authorities to divert water to the auxiliary spillway for the first time in the dam's 50-year history. But this afternoon, engineers spotted a hole in that backup spillway and feared it was only going to get bigger, and once it did, nothing would be able to stop the waters from pouring into the Feather River and flooding communities. That's when deputies moved in, telling everyone to clear out. The National Weather Service had initially expected the spillway to give way just before 6 this evening, but say the erosion has slowed. Even so, tonight, there are traffic jams on what are ordinarily rural roads as people pack up and head out, not knowing if they will have a home to return to.
I live in Oroville, so we've been going on this since Tuesday.
All right, what were your initial reactions to the mandatory evacuations to get out?
Go get my wife and get out of there.
I've been concerned.
What's your big concern right now?
Just Marysville being flooded because we're a fishbowl.
And take a look at this. Tonight, this is the scene in Butte County. Inmates are being shipped out of the Butte County Jail for their own safety until the danger has passed. At this hour, engineers are using construction helicopters to move large rocks to try to plug the holes. Authorities are also trying to release as much water as possible to relieve the pressure on the spillway.